We start. All right, welcome. I'm glad you're all here. It's really an honor for me to be able to present to you in this forum, so I'm very grateful to the technology department for giving me this opportunity. I'm Margaret Riel from GSEP, joined with Paul Sparks from GSEP. We both teach in the MALT program, which is the Masters in Learning Technologies. We teach online, and what we thought we would do today is share with you some of our practice of teaching online. And particularly, I'm going to move over to this computer.
And by the way, may I add, we've been doing it for some time now. This is our 15th year.
Yes.
Doing this.
And we're joined by a number of students whose names are on the board here: Aaron, Doug, Mara, Joel, and Kathy, and maybe Heidi. Will be allowing you to audit their class, okay? They've agreed to hold a class at this time, which is not their normal time, so that you could have an opportunity to watch how we teach online, because we think it's a lot more effective in the program. All of the things we do in the program is to model what we would like students to do. We model learning because we think that's the most effective way of learning. So, how do you do small groups when you're online? We know how you do small groups in a classroom. If I said, okay, I want you to get in groups of 5, and I want you to talk about a particular issue, you would immediately get into groups of 5, and you would start trying to figure out how to talk about that issue, right? And where would I be? What would I do? I would circle around. I would circle around. I would visit one group after another and see what they're doing, see if they're on task, see if they're getting the kind of intellectual work that I want them to get. How do you do that online? Well, one way to do it online, since you all jumped right in with a response, one way to do that online is to have students meet weekly. Remember with the spacing out of learning that we just heard in the keynote? You can have students meet weekly, not necessarily with the professor, okay? Every time they meet, if you've got your class into small groups and you tried to meet with every group, it would be like trying to be with every group when you're in the classroom. It doesn't work. But you can rotate just the same way that you rotate in the classroom. You can rotate across weeks. So some weeks I join students, some weeks they meet on their own. It's really important they meet on their own. But if they meet on their own, there has to be a form for that meeting. There has to be a structure. So we're going to talk a little bit about learning circles, because that's the structure for meeting. And they have to have a technology. And the technology we're going to talk about today is Google Hangouts and Google Docs. We're going to talk about how we make sure there is shared attention in the kind of learning that we develop. So Paul is over here, and he is going to show you a Hangout. Okay, so we're in right now in Google+. It's a free Google application that's online, and hopefully it'll be a part of the Google applications from Pepperdine shortly. But it's easy to go to it. It's free, and there's a little button that says. Well, what he's doing now is, because Doug has invited us to a Hangout, he's just going to join it. And here is the listing here.
Students do all the work.
Students do all the work. If you wanted to create a Hangout instead of join one, you would push the Hangout icon, which is not on the screen right now, but if you...
Oops, sorry.
Okay, so
it comes
there
up over
it is,
here.
right here, right there on the top. So if we wanted to start our own Hangout, we would go and push that button, and we would get a name of the Hangout, who we want to invite, and then push start, and it would start. Instead, he's going to join one that they have already started for us. Okay, and if you put it in your Google Calendar, I just learned yesterday that if you put it in your Google Calendar, you can have an invite sent out to the group at whatever date you want to start your Hangout. So I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
But it works really cool.
One of the things, I'm pretty sure you do this, is that there are circles within Google. You can assign individuals to circles, and then circles to larger circles. So this is a matter of, you don't have to each time go out and invite all of the individual students. You just put them in a circle and pop them in. So it would be as simple as saying a hangout. I want to have a hangout with this circle of people, and it could be a learning circle or an entire class.
Yeah. So you put the people in a circle. You choose that circle when you go in. You can actually go into your calendar, and if you go into a Google Calendar, you'll see a place that says Start a Hangout, and you can click that. And then when it's time for that hangout to happen, everybody will get a little email that says, you know, time to join your hangout, and a little click to join. So it's very simple. Okay, let's go ahead and start.
Oh, wait. This was, that was Doug's hangout?
They should be there. If that was Doug's hangout, they should.
Right.
Well, you can just say invite more. You can always invite them. And if you say your circles, and you can say, no, not your circles. Type LC1. Cross out your circles, LC1. And then you have to add, go ahead and do that, and that'll get.
And then add in.
Heidi.
Heidi.
This is good because you see how he sets one up. Heidi, Joel, and Kathy.
Do they have to have Gmail, or can it be any email?
Not Kathy Lepora. C-A-T. Catherine. C-A, there we go. Catherine Davis.
Okay, and
then say
hang on.
And hopefully they'll join us in a minute. What was the question?
Do they have to have email, Gmail, or can it be any email?
No, and you can they can be any email, but they have to have registered with Gmail.
Okay.
And you can also do one phone number with a Hangout. Okay, so there, Mara
Here comes
is
Mara.
with us.
Hi.
And you'll notice that today is Ash Wednesday.
We're celebrating Ash Wednesday.
When you say one phone number, is that one phone number for everyone to call into?
No. They do this through the computer, but if somebody doesn't have a computer, you can add one telephone.
I see.
And you can also do it through the iPhone. That wouldn't count that. You can do Google Hangouts through the iPhone. You can do it through the laptop, and you can do it through the computer. We have people who are driving home and park the car and haven't quite made it yet, but here I am, and they walk into the house.
This is what we've dreamed about for all these years, and now that it's here, it does make it a little difficult for 6 a.m. classes, though.
The maximum size of people here is 10, unless you have a university application in which it's 15. So you could have 15 little pictures of people down at the bottom. We're going to show you what's going to go in the center in a minute, but we're still working on getting the others.
Well, they've been invited, so they're coming in. So we've got the 3 so far.
Okay, and we're hearing some typing. So when typing gets too loud, that person at that end can mute their microphone. Okay, can somebody bring up the Google Docs, because that's the second thing we want to show you. Paul, you probably already has it. Do you see the drive on the side? Show everyone where the drive is. Right down, one more, there it is. The Google Drive, click on that. Okay, the Google Drive will open either, so we have a shared note already started, you can see. It will open your Google Docs, and you can pick a file that you've saved, or you can just pick to have the notes from the Hangouts. And all notes will be saved in your Google Drive. I don't know, how many of you are familiar with Google Drive? Okay, those that aren't, it's a cloud-based place to save files. So you can keep your information online in files that look a lot like Word, except they're Google Docs instead of Word docs. and you can share them. So we're now sharing this document. Now that's what I want to show you, because it's this kind of attention that is really important in working. So let's start class. So welcome everyone. Microphone's on.
Hey everybody.
Okay, let's go around with just a check-in. Who wants to start?
Hey everybody, Doug just checking in. Had a really good week of action research success, and just looking forward to sharing that with y'all. Also started my first puppy class on Monday night, so interesting mix of things.
Hi, I'm Erin, and I'll also be talking a little bit later about a lot of the action research things that I did the past week. Had a lot of meetings. Yesterday I had a 9 to 5 meeting, which was really interesting, and I got to try out a few different things. And then I also got to go to the Gardner talk on Monday, which was great and really enlightening.
Oh wow, good for you. I'm excited to hear about it.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Heidi, and I'll be talking about my action research project, which has to do with e-portfolios. I've completed my first cycle and am working on my second and third concurrently. So I'll be speaking about those in a little while.
Hi, I'm Joel. My action research has been going very well. I was invited this week to join the teachers that I'm working with every day from now until March break. So I took it as a really good sign of the project going well, and that's been very exciting and taking up a lot of my time. So checking in. Maura, you're on mute.
Yeah, I have muted myself. This is Maura, I'm checking in. I've also had a good week with AR. Things are starting to pick up steam. I released a survey to close out data collection in my first cycle, and I spent the last 2 days obsessively clicking refresh on the survey monkey results. And then we also launched the technology blog for the faculty, and we've gotten a really positive feedback from that. People are enjoying it and glad, to see the information. So that's exciting too. The people I work with worked really hard and they did some great work.
Just a note on the check-in process. I've had people look over my shoulder and say, "Boy, you sure waste a lot of time in online classes, with the chit-chat and all." This is what happens in a regular face-to-face class as well, right? You show up early, you chat with the students as they come in. So it's very important for this emotional check-in right at first. We've learned that over the years.
Who's typing the notes? Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute. You'll see a little marker that goes up on the top. Everybody can type the notes. Anybody can type the notes. Everybody can work on the notes. So this is the combination of two medias, and they don't necessarily mirror each other. We're going to watch a little longer. You're not going to spend the whole time in here watching the class, but we're going to keep the transcript of the class going, so you can follow it. Yes?
Do you audio recording too, in case you have a circle member not present? You can audio. You can make it a broadcast, and then it's saved, and they can watch it. All right, so who would like to share, what happens now is that they each have, in a learning circle, they each have 10 minutes in a normal class to use the group mind in any way they want, okay? We're going to have one person, we're going to listen to one person sort of pose some questions or tell us what's going on, and then we're going to, for the rest of it, we're going to continue to watch the transcript. But I'm going to tell you I'm going to narrate on top of what they're doing. Okay, so who would like to be the one? I see a hand up. Anyone want to be first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So just to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing, just to kind of update you guys. So my action research project is looking into the effects and impact of mobile media technologies on informal learning. And I'm in cycle 3 right now. I'm ending cycle 3, just as kind of Moore had said, just am getting the results back from the polling, and going to start looking at the data been using, it's really pretty cool, been able to use, set up Twitter accounts for 2 classes of teachers, teaching students who are going out into interning in classrooms, and so they don't have a formal way of meeting. So they're using these mobile technologies to capture those spaces where they wouldn't normally get together. Also using Glassboard, which is a little more. It doesn't have the limitations of the character, 140 character limits of Twitter. So in both these settings, we're right now collecting the data at the end of cycle 3 to just see what impact we can see that these things have had on these informal learning spaces. So it's going really well, but just waiting to this next week and start coding, looking at the data and seeing what we found, reflect on that, and use that to go forward with cycle 4. And we're hoping that cycle 4 will really bring it all together and help us really be able to see what, if any, we can glean from the use of these mobile technologies that we have in our pocket, in our purses, in our fanny packs.
Okay, we're gonna mute you, although we expect you'll kind of continue to work, going through each of your projects, asking questions, doing the things that you would normally do in a learning circle. And we'll come back in with some questions for you a little later. Okay, but we have your Google Doc on screen, so we're watching, and we'll be talking about what you're doing. I understand that, but I just thought I would let you know that they know that. Okay, so the next slide. We have lots of models for collaboration, but the model that I'm going to talk about today is a little bit different, and I'm going to try by these slides to try to give you a sense of that difference. One way to do work when you have to do work together is what I'm calling committee work. You all get together, you decide on what the task is and how you have to do it. You all take a piece of it, you go away, you write your piece, and you come back together and you sew a document. Okay, that's efficient and fair. Everyone has ownership. Everyone's responsible for a part of it. Assessment is easy because you can look at each part and say, did the person do a good job or not? But the drawbacks are that it minimizes the learning from others. There's less coherence, less attention to the whole, and possible duplication. Okay, that's one model. Another model that we have for working together is what I'll call whole group process. So we get everybody together. Generally, one person is identified as the leader, and that person tries to incorporate everybody's ideas into a final document. Now, what happens there is that there's good collaborative learning, hopefully knowledge building, more coherence, attention to the whole, but the drawbacks are that the leader learns the most. Okay, the person who's responsible of organizing the group and getting them to do with it, what needs to be done is the one who's doing most of the learning. And there's less individual ownership. It's harder to assess because it's a group process. A little bit easier when it's online, but still difficult. Now, what if you took these two models and put them together? Right? So you're going to see a kind of a messy graphic that's going to result from putting these two models together that I hope communicates the idea of a learning circle. So in a learning circle, everyone takes a part of the task, whatever the task is, but they don't do it by themselves. They lead a group process. So in this case, in this kind of a learning circle, they all have action research projects. Those projects are all their own. However, the circle is responsible for the quality of those learning circles, of those action research projects. We tell students that they may learn more from participating in somebody else's action research than they do from their own. And that is true, because helping shape somebody else's project in a context where they don't have that kind of control might be just the kind of experiment that they're able to do through somebody else. So all of them are working on each other's action research projects. That's why they're there in that learning circle. That's what they're doing right there, is sharing what's going on, getting feedback every step of the way, every week, every process that they take, they vet it in the group, and the group helps them decide if this is the right next step to take. So they have the advice of 4 other people plus a faculty at various points to know whether or not they're making the next best step. So we have this combination of individual ownership and distributed leadership, okay? And it works in a learning circle in the way that you're seeing right there. Okay, so everyone likes a definition. So what is a learning circle? A learning circle is a collaborative model with distributed leadership and a shared product. So the definition of a learning circle is that there will be a shared product. It can be different. It doesn't have to be a piece of paper, but it will be a shared product. In this case, it will be a conference. A small number of participants collaborate on a set of projects around a theme for a specified period of time to gain deeper knowledge and shared understanding. Okay, so that's the definition of a learning circle. That's an example of a learning circle. And if you want to know more about the model of learning circles, if you go to onlinelearningscircles.org, you will find a description of the model in detail, in particularly this balance between individual ownership, group responsibility, diverse participants and projects, knowledge building and circle products, distributed leadership, and the norms and expectations of running a learning circle. There are also all sorts of examples of how to run learning circles with school-age children to adults in all different settings. So, and they can be actually used in a 1-hour session as well if you adhere to the kind of principles of learning circles. It is a model for working on for collaborative work. So what I want to do now is take the few minutes that we have to get your questions. We're continuing to watch the feed, and what Paul said in the beginning is really important. We think that being connected with students is the heart of online learning. So that check-in, and they all checked in with how their action research is going. But we say when we have a check-in, it can be anything that's gone on this week that you want to share with the group. Sometimes we hear about custody battles with children. Sometimes we hear about a move, a new job. We hear about all kinds of things, but it means that everybody feels that kind of, this is my group. I'm connected to this group. I care about what happens to them. And that multi-dimensional connection to the students to each other is really critical for online learning. Yeah, you have a question.
How often, if at all, do these students get together face to face?
3 times. The beginning of the program, the middle of the program, and the end of the program.
In one year.
In 1 year. Okay, so what questions do you have? Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to say is,
Margaret, he's asking for how long? So it's a extended weekend. It's really
4 days.
Like 4 day long.
What we found was that when students were working online, we knew that in the background they were doing email and chatting with each other and doing all sorts of. We'd ask students when they leave, what are the kinds of things you do besides listen to us, or besides listen to what's going on in the channel? And they'd say, oh, we send notes back and forth, and they would share with us what they did, and we thought, well, how can we get them more fully involved in the work? And that's when Etherpads and then Google Docs bought Etherpads and incorporated this collaborative tool. This is really a game-changing tool. The fact for collaboration, the fact that everybody can see the same document and change the same document in real time is really a spectacular form for collaboration. There is this really nice machine here, and this machine allows you to sit around a computer and push little pods, and you can see on the machine what's on each of the individual computers. Really nice way when you're synchronous and you have your computers all together. But being able to see the same document and being able to see it no matter where you are and build it is really pretty powerful. And what you get is not exactly what is being said. You really have two channels of communication. So how many times have you been in a meeting where somebody is saying something and you think, oh, you know, you need to know about this, or, oh, I got this great idea, but you don't want to, you know, you just can't interrupt the flow every time you have a great idea, right? You know, it's not really polite to keep interrupting everybody else to listen to your great ideas. But when you have this channel, anytime you have a great idea, you just put it in. So even though it may not be spoken, by the time someone's done, like someone says, oh, I'm having a real problem with, you know, trying to find the right tool for this activity. And pretty soon, tools start appearing in the screen. Nobody said anything, but the tools just start being typed in. Or someone says, you know, I saw this really great resource that really helped me. It was this thing about, and they give enough information. Somebody goes off on the internet, finds the person, pulls back the resource, and copies it down while the person is still talking. So you have this ability to multitask, but instead of multitask on something that's not connected to the learning, you have people multitasking for the activity.
One of our sayings in the program is, none of us is as smart as all of us. And I think you can actually feel it here, right? You see these tabs are different colors? So as they're talking, this is not one person or the person speaking writing the notes. This is the entire class. Just want to make sure that everybody understands that. And so you get the sense that this is a product of a group mind, and it's very powerful. When you're in that space, you feel it. You realize that it's not just you doing the thinking, it's everybody together.
So we've lost the place where they're typing.
Oh, no, it's right there.
I know, I just moved it.
Oh, you moved it.
Yeah.
Lots of questions, Mark.
Yeah.
Quick question. Can you do screen share swaps between
Yes.
all the participants?
Yes. Yes.
So, as far as Google Hangout goes, it adds the video, right? But you can be in Google Docs and be co-editing a document.
Right, and you could call on the phone, or you could be in a phone bridge, or you could be on Skype. Any other, you still.
So do you find that adding the video capability is what opportunities are there with the video that aren't there just for co-editing with audio?
I think he's asking what's the benefit of the video. Yeah.
You know, partly it lets us see into people's environments. Joel is always in front of this this place. We've actually commented on the change and the things that are back there. You know, you notice where people are, and that gives them a kind of context that helps you remember who they are. So you have a visual memory of them. It makes people come to life. You can also tell, again, attention. So if somebody had to go off and do something, or has to attend to pets, or has to attend to children, which that often happens online, you see that. You know right away when they're present and when they're not present. So it gives you one more sort of connection into their attentiveness.
But this is a fairly recent development for us. I mean, we were doing the audio and the notes long before that, and that's also very powerful.
And some people choose to just have their picture. It's a static picture. If they've got a low bandwidth, they're in a hotel room or somewhere, and they're worried that they might not be able to keep the video. Picture just appears of them, and they participate the same. Yeah.
Hi. What did you? Why did you choose Google Hangouts over Illuminate or a web conferencing system with similar functionality?
Okay. Illuminate. The sound on Illuminate makes you feel like you're alone. You just don't get that kind of feeling of everyone hearing the sounds in the background. It's amazing how important that is for you to feel like there's people there. You know, so that's one big thing. In Illuminate, you only get one little video, so you're not seeing the rest. And you can put up a shared document, and you can have this kind of shared typing. But we just find that Google Plus is a much more robust and enjoyable experience over Illuminate. What was the other one you asked?
That was it.
Okay.
Is Illuminate limited to 6 too?
limit, yeah.
It's got a limitation, 15.
And you only see one. I mean, the time we use Illuminate was when we have bigger groups. So when I have groups that are bigger than 10, then I go to Illuminate. That's my second choice. Yeah.
So you may have just answered my question, but my question is about if you have learned an optimal group size. So I know you have this group, you have up to 15 and you can do more in Illuminate, but have you, through your work, decided that there's an optimal size for your learning?
I think the size, I think that's a great question, and I've been doing learning circles for 25 years. I connect classrooms around the world in learning circles, and they work on projects in the same way that the students work on action research. In their learning circles, I found that 8's a good number because some of them drop out. Really, across all the people who have been doing learning circles, and there are thousands of people involved every year in learning circles in all different contexts. 5 to 6 active people is what you're looking for. That seems to be the ideal number that balances diversity. So you get different people's ideas when you're doing any task, when you're leading a group, and intimacy or interactivity. You can actually get everybody's views heard in a group of 5 within an hour's length of time. But obviously the group size interacts with the project that they're doing, the length of time that you're going to have for the meetings, and that can be over the length of time this way or the length of time this way, in one session versus cross time. But it's a really good question. Yeah.
Hi. Hey, so I think you mentioned at the beginning that you're anxious for the Google Hangouts and Plus to be part of our apps, and maybe this is more a question for Jonathan and others from IT here. But you guys have released this as part of apps, have you? And do we have that full capability right now?
I believe so.
With all of the Hangouts and stuff? Are there people who are using it yet?
There are some.
Okay.
But I think it's still fairly new. We haven't really done a campus-wide promotion at this point, but we have definitely opened it up.
Okay. And then the support for it is that, sorry, Jerry, the
no,
same thing.
Well, no, candidly, it is now available. Margaret, maybe with you, but it's just relatively recently released, so we haven't promoted it and don't have full support yet.
Right. But is it fair to say that this is a direction you would like to go and you would like to work with people in?
Well, we'd like to see organic feedback, and for us, Rattle and Sparks had success, and let's try it at other schools and let us know. If so, we can crank up the support and documentation. So if it's just kind of onesie-twosie, then we'll put energy into it.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
And that's one of the things. We're our program is learning technology, so we like to experiment with these things, and so don't want to give the wrong impression. I mean, we're constantly out looking for the next best thing, and we want to try it out. And a lot of times, our students will come to us and say, "Hey, how come we're not using this or that?" And
Glassboard was something I just learned about. It's a nice private discussion board that you can set up anywhere. There are all sorts. I mean, it's so wonderful to be teaching at this time, because there's so many tools, and they're all so, inventive and allow for such interactivity among us and our students that it's just a really exciting time. Yeah.
So we do a hybrid, and we're not a technology program. And I would just say that the video feed, having the face and the voice is so important for the connection. Our students meet 6 times over the course of 2 years in MSOD, and we always hear that. We always hear, I want more. I want to feel the connection, kind of the same as when they come to session and they're
Let's ask them about that. Ask them.
That would be great.
We can go back in and you can ask questions to them. They're willing to, they actually had their learning circle meeting this week anyway. I said, this is your weekly meeting. It counts as your weekly meeting. They said, oh no, we all do our own, and we'll do this too, which shows you sort of their commitment to one another. They didn't want to have a kind of abbreviated meeting. They wanted to have a full meeting. So this is really their second meeting this week. Do you have a question before we bring back?
The visual cues are important too for folks who have hard of hearing, difficulties hearing, some of our students, and also for more students coming from with diverse linguistic backgrounds. When you're trying to hear or understand someone, and you can see their face, and you use those confused to understand, so that's been helpful too.
Let's go back in and let's interrupt their process. You can see they're adding
time, all that web design
Yeah.
does to create it. So.
Okay, you guys.
So that's where I am. Hopefully you guys got something out of that for you guys as well.
Yeah, great job.
You're back.
And
Let me break in, you guys. Excuse me 1 second.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm muted.
We muted you. I don't know if you can.
They saw you talking.
Nothing personal.
They saw you talking.
Thank you. Oh,
Now they're muted again. There we go. There we go.
to be muted once is one thing, twice. Now, I just wanted to let you know you're back online here with our session, and the audience has a few questions for you. The first one was, I believe, if I can paraphrase, how important is the face-to-face actual video feed that you see each other each week? How important is that for you?
Very important.
Huge.
Yeah.
Very important.
It's everything. Especially if you don't, since a lot of us just started to know each other, so we don't exactly know when each of us are being funny, sarcastic, serious, or what we're saying. Are they understanding it? Are they not understanding it? So the facial expressions help.
Right.
But I think the video helps you be more present in the space than just audio or just text.
Definitely. Yeah, we know when someone's drifting off.
Sometimes you get people looking off into the distance, right?
Yeah.
And you know they're not paying attention, huh?
So
Or
questions.
they're pondering seriously.
Questions for the students? Comments? Yeah.
Robert has one.
Well, I like what I see, and I think it's changed since you trained me 4 or 5 months ago. In order to speak, you had to raise your hand, be approved. There was an icon.
That was
and
eliminated.
So now this is, anybody can speak when they want or together, and I really like this part of it. Oh, so this is new?
This is a different tool, yes. This is a different tool. That was Illuminate. This is Hangouts.
I thought you were on Google Docs.
We did have Google Docs join, but we had it inside of Illuminate, which is part of...
Oh.
Illuminate provided the voice
yeah.
and the video and Google Docs.
All right, so.
Well, there are different tools that serve different purposes. Illuminate can only support 6 simultaneous speakers, but you can host 100 people or sometimes more. So if it was going to be lecture style, you would consider a tool like that. But for something like this, which is designed to be collaborative and conversational, this tool works perfectly, and it's free, and everyone has it if you have a Gmail account.
There is one thing that I'd like to mention as my actual research has been creating a group on Google Hangouts, is that unless the people have up-to-date computer equipment and good Wi-Fi, that there can be connection issues, and that's something that I'll be talking about in my actual research project, is that I've had 2 people that have had connection problems because they don't have current laptops with the most current operating system, and so we have to work together to make sure that they get it. It hasn't seemed to be a problem in the cadre for us, but in my little group, it has been a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that, in addition, from the computer, you can do it on your phone. I have in my last learning circle, I had somebody who would join from his car sometimes.
You can also, your users can actually adjust if they've got a bad internet connection, so I can show you how they can do that, because that's quite a useful thing.
I would love to hear that.
Okay, Susan?
So, hey you guys, thanks for joining us. But, so, talking about doing it from your car, and in fact, I think I drove by you when you were doing that. But that being said, are you suggesting that you're doing this on a mobile, iPad, iPhone, Android? The mobile
I have before.
Yeah, I have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did one last night, and the guy was, I mean, probably not the safest, but he was on his phone while driving, and he had set his phone down so we could sort of see up his nose while he was driving. He was fully involved and participating, and then he got home, switched from phone to computer, and he was in.
Yes, Dave, right?
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah. I saw some action research lately about nose hairs.
Other questions?
Thanks.
Yeah.
have we have 6 right now. Have you guys done this with larger groups? That we're saying that there's some limitations or it's not ideal, but what's the experience been if you've had a larger group than say 6?
They recently upped it, the maximum from 10 to 15. So you can have 15 now, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but when you're over 5 or something like that, it automatically mutes people when they come in, which is good because what winds up happening, that's funny, Maura, what winds up happening is, technically I haven't had many problems with a lot of people, maybe you guys have, but the people speaking have to develop the right groove so that they don't talk on top of each other.
Right, and also background home noises sometimes need to be muted.
Right, or cats, or dogs, or children.
Yeah, my children especially. Yeah.
Can you enlarge a speaker if they wanted to give like a brief lecture and want to be more prominent?
What was that?
Yeah.
Can you enlarge a given video screen?
Yeah, if you just click on someone's picture down at the bottom, then they'll become larger on your screen.
Normally, what happens if you're not sharing a document, whoever is speaking is in the center, but if you're sharing a document, the document takes the center spot.
Or if you just want to stare at one person the entire time, you can just click on there.
Or you can stare yourself.
I didn't know that feature, Doug. This changes everything.
Other questions? I saw some hands a minute ago. Yeah?
I think a question. We have to have norms for collaboration, whether we're face-to-face or online, meeting etiquette and that sort of thing. And I wonder, is there anything unique or what everyone's learned about, things like listening to understand, not dominating the space, but is there anything unique regarding collaboration that would be helpful for folks to know using Google Hangouts or related technology like this that's different from, say, face-to-face?
Can you hear that? That was a little light.
Can someone restate that?
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah. What are the unique characteristics of being face-to-face in this way, Google Hangouts, that enhance learning, perhaps above and beyond the classroom setting or just audio?
So there's no smell,
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug.
Since it is so mobile, I think you can get a better understanding of everyone's personal life, which kind of helps you get to know them. So we do get to see everyone's, houses, workplaces, those kinds of things. And I think it also just shows how dedicated everyone is to the program and to each other in the learning circles, that they're willing to do it in their car while driving and that kind of thing.
And the collaborative nature of Google Docs is just so huge that we can all be editing this document on any platform simultaneously, letter for letter, and typically what winds up happening, somebody's taking notes on a certain sentence and somebody else goes in and fixes a typo, and then the next person types the next sentence, and it happens instantaneously, and that's just, even if we were in the room together, at this point we would still probably use Google Docs so that you've got 5 people at the keyboards instead of 1 person at the keyboards. And you can, in my opinion, you can never go back from that. I use this now with my design group when we're like writing full-length papers because one editor on one document in a group now seems obsolete.
Too slow. Too slow.
Yeah, and you can actually, when I'm in professional meetings, when we have I'm putting on a conference and we need, every couple of weeks to do things. We have an agenda. We start with the agenda and we just type out the agenda. And by the time we're done, we have a formatted minutes of the meeting that wasn't controlled by the person who's the secretary, whose job it is to write the minutes, but it's controlled by everybody. Everybody has a chance to sort of, oh, you didn't get that quite right, let me fix that. Or let me put some bullets in and move these around and make them look nice. And by the time we're done, we've got a complete document of the meeting that we just had, and everyone participated in it.
And everyone has buy-in on the process as well.
Exactly.
If someone is absent, where do you save this, and can this be saved for them to go back?
It's automatically saved in everybody's Google Google Docs. So when you close the Hangout, you will see that it is saved in your Google Docs.
And a lot of our learning circles have a running document, so they'll save all of their group meetings in the same document so that if anyone misses it, they can just go back in and read what happened.
Mm-hmm. And you can actually go back and yourself if you're trying to remember, I said that, I don't remember what else and what the other context was. It's helpful too. I've gone back not often, but occasionally to go through learning circle notes.
Okay.
That was a great question.
Sorry. Well, it's a worthwhile point. Because it's all stored in a Google Doc, and Google Docs is a Google product and well integrated, you can do a search in your Google Docs, just a general search as if you're searching for a document list, but you could search for one word or one term, and the document will come up in your list. So if we were discussing before this 321 exit survey, I could literally type 3,2,1 in my search, and it'll find this document for me. So, and that goes back as far back as your history of documents, which means not only are you creating something together, but you're creating something that could easily be searched and found again and used again.
There's this other sense that in academia we like to think we're creating knowledge, right? In face-to-face classes, and I've done this for a long, long time, you kind of come in, the students are there, you talk about things, it all seems to evaporate into space, right? And that, although there might be bits of paper that get stored in various notebooks, it just feels like it evaporates. This feels like, you know, there's media, there's sound, there's audio, there's text being recorded that's going to be there, you know, for the foreseeable future. And it does feel like you're building knowledge together. That's a powerful feeling.
We are at time. I want to thank all of you for your attention, but I also want to thank the students here who don't really see who the audience is and who have enough courage to let us watch their process. So I want to give
Take it down.
I hope that this multisensory way of approaching a problem so that you actually see it and hear it, can question it, you know, have resources that will help you come back to it, that this will provide a really effective way for you to think about how something like this might interface with your teaching. And we're open to help anybody that wants help. I put up some URLs that will help you see more about what we do. But please ask us questions or see us informally, and we'll try and help you solve the kind of technology issues that you have in you try to teach in this wonderful world with so many wonderful collaborative tools. Thank you.
Margaret, is there a way to send those links to us like you've done?
I'm happy to share the PowerPoint slide. I assume they'll have some way for us to do that. I see a nod. So yes.
Please go real quick.
I see this is being used too for more and more for things like dissertation defenses, dissertation data collection, focus group interviews. So what a powerful tool for all that.
I'm sure you have more questions. Please join me in thanking Margaret Riel.